Brent Porcio, TopVelocity.net, new 3x pitch BioMetrics here of Eduardo. Got him at 89 miles per hour in the 3x velocity camp. We're going to be looking at his hip angles. Okay, coming out of leg lift. Okay, you can see front side leg is starting to open already. Not a lot of abduction in drive leg. We can see about 12 degrees from the green check. We got some external rotation, or actually that's internal rotation, sorry. We like to see a little bit more abduction and a little bit maybe more external rotation, which would take the hips more forward and down a little bit longer to where the force vector, the ankle to knee, gets into that linear position. You can see the pelvis is slightly tilted back at 12 degrees. We'd like to see that more neutral, loading more of the posterior chain. Trunk is leaning inward but not leaning too far back, which is good. So when we go into leg drive, we can see a little bit extension coming out of the knee into front foot strike. Not a lot of hip to shoulder separation. You can really see that front foot side really opens up early and reaches, and you can see when it really starts to get extended, that back knee starts to go down, which takes away from the amount of force he can generate off back leg. If we then look at the kinematic sequence to get an understanding of how well he's driving that sequence of hip to shoulder, we can see glove side pulling really early here. So look at the glove side, the blue dot peaking right here. That's early trunk rotation. So he's hitting front foot and that glove side's already tucked. So glove side is starting rotation really early. Then you can see the red dot coming in later, which is the hips, and then the trunk going right after that. So not much hip to shoulder separation, barely any at this point. So pulling early glove side, flying open front side. So front legs kicking and glove side's pulling really early, which is causing everything to go together, and we can see in the sequencing there. We can also see the trunk speeds are low at that point as well. So going all the way to pitch release, a very vertical trunk position. You can see the pelvis in the trunk is pretty much the pelvis 28 and the trunk's 19. The pelvis is actually a little bit more than the trunk going forward. You also can see the trunk's pulling off 36 degrees, which is getting excessive. So just a lot of rotation to release. You know, he's throwing good speeds. He's obviously strong and powerful, but everything's flying together. You see the arm extending out. See the arm going from, you know, somewhere pretty aggressively inside 90, but still, because there's so much rotation, it flies out. That's what a lot of people don't understand. You can put your arm inside 90, but if your trunk is just mainly going to accelerate in rotation, you're going to see it flying out. So it'd be good to look at these the linear speeds. So we have in the chest or pelvis, let's look at the pelvis to the left. You can see the red line is the sway, okay? It basically how fast the hip is rotating away from going towards the target, so rotating more angular. You can see that's a lot higher peak than the thrust going forward. The thrust is around 3 something. Also too with the chest, you can see the chest flying out is a lot higher than the thrust going forward, around a 6 something. So there's a lot more. I mean, if we look at the sway speed of the hip is at a 5.2, of the trunk it's at a 11.4, and then the thrusts are at a 3 to a 6. So there's a lot more energy going left to right than there is going forward. And you know, the goal is to get more of that energy going forward. So he needs to stay closed longer, get more hip abduction, not fly open front side, not pull early. Get more power, get linear, get more power to the back leg, separate the sequence, and then watch all that energy travel more forward. It'll be a lot easier on his arm too. I'd be as concerned throwing this hard that this is really hard on the arm. Potentially too, I didn't see you being able to create much more velocity when you're already really maxing out in angular rotational velocity. You need to really get more of that linear trunk velocity, which is pelvis to trunk velocity. We'd want that trunk finishing, something like at pitch release here, it's at 11 degrees forward. We need it somewhere like 40, which is going to be key to getting more velocity and getting that healthier velocity in his delivery.